David Letterman's prize ceremony has A-list guests, and Baltimore Rising paints a portrait of the city after the death of Freddie Gray. What's on TV? David Letterman receives the Mark Twain Prize 8 p.m. on PBS. Check local listings. In the final episode of The Late Show, the comedian Bill Murray delivered the last entry of Mr. Letterman's final Top 10 list, titled, "The Top 10 Things I've Always Wanted to Say to Dave." Mr. Murray said, "Dave, I'll never have the money I owe you." In fact, many comedians owe much to Mr. Letterman, whose influence was recently honored with this comedy prize. At the ceremony, Mr. Murray was a featured guest, along with Steve Martin, Amy Schumer, and others, and, speaking on stage, he had a new message for Mr. Letterman: "You're not exactly a god, but you're way up there." Baltimore Rising 2017, 8 p.m. on HBO. Also on HBO-ing platforms. This documentary follows community members in Baltimore after the arrest of Freddie Gray, the 25-year-old African-American man whose death, while in police custody, was felt nationwide in 2015. Directed by the actress Sonia Sohn, The Wire, the film follows police officers, activists and city residents as they reckon with the aftermath of Gray's death. What's streaming? There Will Be Blood 2007 on iTunes and Amazon. While you wait for Phantom Thread, Paul Thomas Anderson's coming collaboration with the actor Daniel Day-Lewis, you can revisit this pair's previous project, about an oil baron during the California oil boom at the turn of the 20th century. The role won Mr. Day-Lewis his second of 3 Academy Awards for Best Actor, and if he wins again for Phantom Thread, he will tie Katharine Hepburn's Oscar record. The Gabriels on Broadway. Richard Nelson's 2016 three-play cycle, which follows an American family during that year's presidential election, is an especially interesting watch 1 year later. Ben Brantley wrote in the New York Times that the works in the cycle may collectively represent the most profound achievement in topical theater in this country since the Depression-era triumphs of Clifford Odotz's Waiting for Lefty, and Mark Blitzstein's The Cradle Will Rock. McCabe, Mrs. Miller 1971 on iTunes and Amazon. It has been just over a year since Leonard Cohen, the Canadian folk singer, beloved for his warm and whispered poetry, died. His songs provide the soundtrack for this Robert Altman western, in which a roving gambler Warren Beatty joins forces with a British prostitute Julie Christie to open a brothel in a mountain town in Washington state. The critic Roger Ebert once wrote that Altman had made a dozen films that can be called great in one way or another, but one of them is perfect, and that one is McCabe, Mrs. Miller. The palpable chill of these hills, captured in wide shots, makes the film an especially fitting choice as the months grow colder.